Top secret underground interview with an ex-Costilla County resident. Take one.
And you're still not asking me a question.
What would you disclose with regards to your experience in Costilla County?
Well, that's a very broad freaking question.
I know. You kind of have the... would you recommend that people basically pack up everything right now and move to Costilla County?
Well, fuck no.
Oh, yeah? Why not? It looks like the land's cheap.
Not unless you wanted to be swindled.
You could put down like $5.
You can put down $75. $75 a month.
Buy now.
I just
look at the
talked to
contract
guy today
later.
about this, actually.
You got to explain to him the basics of moving to Costilla County
Well,
for a newbie.
He was all about weed, and I was all like,
I'm all about the...
He's like, I saw these signs in Fort Garland where I'll get $10 down.
I saw this ad on the internet.
And I was like, you better just pass along those signs, buddy. Cause
I'll fan on landwatch.com. I get those too. People say, what do you think about this property in Fort Garland? I'm like, no, man, that's Costilla County.
It's Costilla County. Stay away. Stay far away. They're only going to exploit you, and there's no money there.
But they don't understand. But your land. They don't understand. What's wrong?
People still don't get that. They don't get how fucking... what this is. Well, you can't even go to Alaska and live on land how you want anymore. It's that freaking hardcore. You can't go anywhere. This is United States. I mean, for once, you can say this is the United States where you can't do anything. It's like the opposite of freedom, right?
Okay, so when did you first go to Costilla County, if you want to mention that?
In 2003.
2002. Okay. Right. Okay.
I bought my land.
So we have a before after kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, I built the house. I lived in a freaking fifth wheel camper for like the first year in one of the coldest winters in the past 25 years. It sucked. And then I decided to build a house promptly with no permits.
Right, no permits back in the day.
No permits, nothing. I just built a freaking house. I built a house out of straw bales. I built it strong, and it'll last forever. And freaking...
those were the golden years, basically.
Well, not really.
Right.
They weren't the golden years because there's a bunch of psychopaths that lived out there.
Okay.
And freaking, like child molesters and all kinds of fucked up people. People you don't want to live around. In fact... I got excited when shit went to the shit because I was like, whoa, look, a bunch of hippies and stuff. At least they're not freaking child molesters. Wow, I got freaking neighbors are upgrading.
Okay.
And then the county kicks everyone out.
So things were starting to get good when the county started cracking down.
Things were starting to get good when the county started
So like last year when all that off-grid stuff was going on, there was a bunch of new people that were not like the other people. Well, I mean, describe some of the other people over the years that you've ran across.
Well, my friend Gandhi once said he had a yurt out there, and he lived out there for about a year. And I've always lived out there because it's an adventurer's paradise. You got mountains everywhere. You got backpacking, skiing. Everything's right there, and it's really cheap to live in. He always said, he was like, you think cool people would live here? But in reality, you got a bunch of people that have nowhere else to go. I mean, like, dude, I grew up on the streets, and from my experience, that's kind of why I liked the Valley, was because it was the same as the homeless people that were on the streets were like the same people that were in the Valley, which is very few. And it was okay, but it got old. You don't want to freaking deal with freaking crazy people all the time. Or stupid people all the time. Well, you do, even in
So you're traveling, train hopping, stuff like that.
And then I lived in a semi-truck and drove a truck for about a year and got land, because that was my point.
But prior to coming to Costilla County, a lot more travel around first before you settled.
Well, yeah.
And then, okay. But different era back then.
Yeah, this is
and
like
right
2000,
right after
9/11. Yeah.
Right.
Shit was crazy, but no one had any interest in freaking being self-sustainable or off the grid.
Right.
No one cared what the fuck off the grid. We were just doing it because it was cheap.
They were just there.
We were like, look, we got a home that's cheap, and then we
Right.
can still do things that are cool and not be a slave. So we hopped on that. Of course, that changed.
And it wasn't really on the map as an off-grid community, but all those
There was no map of off-grid communities
Yeah.
then. No one cared.
But
You know, there was always people that were doing it in the 70s, old hippies.
you
and
said
shit
before
that
at one
were-
point, like the internet and all these ads, boom, and eBay. And I met a lot of people that heard about Costilla County for like eBay, like really.
Yeah, but no one was. People were buying land, but they never like went there.
That's true. There's a lot of that.
They were just like
Heard from hundreds of them. Never came out. We're gonna do it next year. Yeah. Nope. Just actually never happened. And I wonder why. I don't know. I want to theorize on that, but some
because
people.
weed wasn't legal yet. That's why.
Well, the valley's got a powerful energy. It's almost like it's not for everybody. It's certainly not for
It
everybody.
has a bad energy. Well,
Okay.
but
It is the paranormal, mysterious
it's a
valley.
paranormal. It's not a bad energy. You make it bad. You know, I mean, but there's a reason the Spanish population call it the Valley of Death.
Oh, really?
It's not a good energy that's there. It's never been known to be that.
The Valley of Death. Okay. Well, it definitely seems to have like a history, the off-grid area of people fighting and shit. And then you have like the code enforcement stuff and that conflict. And then previous conflicts.
Well, even before that,
it just has like a series of conflicts.
The Apache lived there.
Okay.
You know, the Apache were shoved out by the Ute, but the Ute were supported by the Spanish or some shit. I don't really.
Right.
And there's been a lot of like massacres between Indian tribes and between the Spanish, and even Ute Mountain has like a lot to do with Spanish culture. But it's just funny when people are like, people in San Luis are like, it's our culture, the Spanish culture, but there's, the Apache and the Anasazi were there like freaking like 900 years before them. Just because we're arrogant of this culture, it doesn't exist. Or ignorant of the culture.
So Devin, for example, he is
Devin means well.
Someone that acts like he speaks on behalf of the indigenous
He does
people,
but
yet
he's
the
not
people that came out to
indigenous.
live
Come
indigenous and with the earth are basically
I'm
treated
a
as
white guy, and
white
I believe
trailer trash.
I speak in the behalf of the indigenous people, but really do I? Fuck no, because
And
I'm not
but
fucking
did they have a
indigenous. I'm a
septic
fucking white
system?
guy.
It all comes down to
I can support.
did they have a
indigenous
septic
people,
system, or was there a way that they naturally able to deal with their ways? So when they do this septic system thing on people that want to, return to their roots, and who are they to say just because someone's one race or another? Just side tangent, but soul is soul, and that was definitely what was like lacking the dialogue. The fact that we have souls inside human bodies that are drawn to that beautiful part of the world, and yet there's all this conflict over, well, you'll come still water. You dump trash. I've never dumped trash in my life. And so
I'm going to say, though, since, you are recording, I'm going to say this one thing that I'm a white dude from Whitevania or whatever, or Ireland. Actually, I'm from Scotland. I guess, from my grandparents. But, I'm sick and tired of fucking white supremacy. I'm fucking sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it in this fucking nation. I'm sick and tired of it in general. It's just a bunch of motherfuckers with clogged fucking brain cells, dude. I mean, come the fuck on. Let's stop this.
And everybody knows that I am too, and that's why I wanted to go off grid to begin with. That's where my right. So,
no, it's the core problem in this nation, and I don't even believe in nations. It's in the world.
It's not just in the U.S. We see this
everywhere.
in Europe and Russia. There is this rise. So how does this connect with Costilla County? Because that place was your home for a while, and then one day you just felt the what?
Well, there's two different freaking options here. Costilla County is either owned by billionaires because there's a bunch of because there's no natural land in Costilla County. It's the only county in Colorado that's 100% private. Which is saying a lot because and it has mountains and shit. I mean, there's national forest and wilderness areas everywhere. So they already sold their souls, right off. And freaking and then you put like all these billionaires like Bacon, the motherfucker that owns Taos Ski Valley, and CEOs of freaking Exxon and shit.
Yeah,
throw that in there.
There's a report that he gave money to an economic development center in Costilla County. That would be like their little government there in San Luis. So that sounds like payoff money. I wonder if Louis Bacon had anything to do with the PBS special.
Oh.
For those that don't know, Louis Bacon bought hundreds of thousands of acres up in the mountains, and half of it got given back to the government to conserve it. So,
but here's the thing.
That's definitely something that should be noted.
Here's the thing. I love the
and
San
Ted
Luis
Turner
Valley.
has interest there as well.
Oh, of course. There's 10 billionaires that own that. They're gonna own that entire county.
Now, are we talking about the Taylor Ranch, the multiple billionaires with an interest?
We're talking about all that shit, and not even that, just the small-time freaking rich Texans that live in the wagon wheel that don't care about anything.
It's like they do want to pave the way for their friends once they have these land use codes, so the wealthy can basically not have to live next to. If
and
that's their plan.
Here's the reality. This is
someone in an RV, basically.
When Devon and fucking his buddies, need help, and it will happen. Freaking sustaining the aquas and all that. There's some amazing shit over there. Like, seriously, amazing shit. That is gonna be destroyed by these millionaires. And even though I live over here, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna help them. I mean, if I can. All of us crackers. I don't give a shit, It's
colonialists.
There's a colonialist, but which we
wagon
are,
with your wagon.
I don't deny that shit, dude. I am, and I don't feel bad about it. That's the thing. I have no freaking. I don't have any control over what my ancestors did, if they were even ancestors, because they probably weren't. My ancestors probably came from somewhere else. But it doesn't matter. The point is, white supremacy fucking's bullshit. and I don't want to allow it in the nation I live in. I don't even believe in nations, but if I'm going to have to believe in a nation, it better not be a white supremacist nation. For fucking sakes.
I don't know how we can stop it. It seems like we're busy hiding from it. At least a lot of people are concerned with
Devon and all this. There's some super. I won't go into it. But he's a pretty legit dude. He has freaking. He also lives in Washington or whatever, but mostly like food related shit or whatever. Whatever. You don't have to.
Devon is my number one fan.
He is. You don't have to be a genius to figure this shit out. That's the thing. You don't have to have a degree in anarchy. Maybe if you did, I could get one of those fucking cool freaking paid protester jobs. I'm a professional anarchist.
A Soros check, as they call it. Yes.
But just to say, Devon's having clashes with people in that community.
Yeah, tell us about that. Like, what's going on over?
Well, it's just observed over Facebook or some shit. These are things that where we could have helped with if we were over there.
Now, we were just talking on the side, but people are listening. We're talking about Costilla County. Yeah, my friend Kyle has been doing some communication with another journalist who's been silenced by the government, and this other journalist uncovered a number of FBI informants that the court was trying to keep hidden. They were operating at Burns, and in his investigation, he believes that the guys that are traveling with Bruce Doucette are basically either informants or government agents themselves. So this guy, Bruce Doucette, some of you guys heard about this guy, came to Costilla County. He's trying to get people involved in a bunch of weird shit nationwide. And now more evidence than ever is starting to show the guy seems to be some sort of an FBI operative or something. And we don't even know if that's so the question is, guys, why was he even there in Costilla County to begin with? You would think that the locals would at least be concerned or think that would be weird. That maybe the government would be trying to run an operation, maybe encourage something. I don't know whether they've even thought this through. Some for them to suggest, because the federal government won't be their friend. There's going to be a lot going on with federal lands, public lands, already a lot of debate. This conversation is going in different directions, but it's a really hot topic now.
We don't really know exactly what they were planning, but as far as I know, Bruce Doucette could be a legitimate guy that thinks he's but I really doubt it. Ooh, the Constitution, it's awesome. We were old school white slave owners that wrote things on paper. Freaking, for example, Devon went and he's just like, well, I'm all like that too. What the fuck is this shit? I don't fucking give a fuck about this shit, dude. I mean, like, these motherfuckers rolling up on me.
That whole thing,
I mean, and they were really cool about it. Don't get me wrong, but that's what worries me.
So what happened?
You know,
well, you're talking about. Well, you just started noticing an increased police presence, basically.
Well, yeah. Before I left Costilla County, I got pulled over half a mile from my house, and I live in the middle of fucking nowhere.
And that normally doesn't happen, basically.
It never happened in the universe, ever. I went 4 years without seeing a cop out there.
Right.
You know, and all of a sudden there's cops.
They stepped it up.
Yeah. So fuck that place. I mean, like, there's no, you know, it sucks to lose that, but I mean, you got to adapt. Things are changing, dude. There is no freedom there anymore. There's no freedom anywhere. That's the reality of it. We just have to adapt. You know, it's not like something we have control over, really, where freedom is and where freedom's not right here. I mean, if you wanted to think you had control over it, you can go to prison for the rest of your life.
Do you think Andrew Espinosa knows where the Stargate is?
Andrew Espinosa? Maybe. I know he knows.
They know something.
I actually liked Andy. He was okay. And, you know, that just sucks, dude. But, I mean, that's the nature of... And that's the problem. If Costilla County would have just left us alone... You know, if they would have just been like, that's the nature of Costilla County. There's a bunch of weirdos living out in the middle of nowhere building all their shit.
Like a Coke commercial? I'd like to buy the world and a commercial.
If he would have left us alone... then maybe that wouldn't have happened to him. So then so Costilla County came in the spotlight, right? Because of what they were doing, and he got fucked. And there's gonna be a lot more motherfuckers getting fucked too, dude. I mean, just because they're just like, look, we're fancy pants in Costilla County,
and the
let's
stories,
enforce laws.
They're traveling by word of mouth. The stories about what's happening to the residents. It's not really being written about. There's like a blackout in Alamosa. Alamosa paper ain't saying nothing. The Valley Courier got a phone call from New York. Hypothetically,
it was a cool place for
somebody made a phone call.
I mean, it wasn't even that cool when I lived there. I mean, It was just cool that you could be free.
It's gonna be post-apocalyptic, though. You know, I'm talking about the people might be rolling up there with like nuclear wars, just trying to get out of the blast.
Dude, there's aquifers on it. Those billionaires, that's what they're after.
So you think that it's really about the aquifers? It's about what's under. Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah.
Well, it makes sense why they'd be so Nazi about the septics, sense. But yeah,
they don't want motherfuckers up in there because they have a giant fucking aquifer, the largest aquifer in the United States.
Okay.
You know, freaking, and even Kansas owns like, but there's a bunch of aquifers in the San Luis Valley. You know, I mean, like freaking, there's water rights to everyone, but there's a lot of water there, right? So it'd be a good place to be if you needed to be somewhere with water.
Okay. Yeah, and a well, for sure.
Like a bunch of rich assholes do need to be.
You could see a real like Armageddon scenario with a bunch of people like shooting at each other over like something out of the Old West or something. You know, like a battle at the old Labato Bridge.
Like Oblivion, like the Old West Oblivion, not the cool West. Westworld's kind of cool, but Oblivion's weird.
Well, who knows what the future holds? But it's definitely like an interesting place. That's for sure. I could definitely say that. I guess what Colorado used to be like an ocean or this area, it just feels like ancient land from here to there. And it seems like Costilla County is one of those spots, especially by the Rio Grande River. You know, that whole area there, it's very Star Wars-ish. So, I mean, yeah, I pretty much expressed what drew me out there, and I certainly want to see it again. Definitely never to live. People are emailing me and asking me, not so much anymore, and I'm just telling them, don't do it. It would be better to just live in the national park.
Exactly. I would tell them not to go there. It's
if it's like survival.
It was a very beautiful place, but only because of its remoteness and freaking solitude. But if you take the solitude away, it's not a place you want to be. Plus, it's the Valley of Death.